We are ill prepared this morning.
Ill
prepared this morning for this show. But I'm excited because we have Jacek coming back.
It's still going to be a good one.
It's going to be a great show. We have lots of fun things happening and lots of like not so fun things happening, but
Yeah.
What would fix me? I was thinking this morning, what would fix me?
Number go up?
Yeah. And eat the all-time high.
Mm.
Can you just taste it? Like, wouldn't that be great?
You know what? You think it would, but it wouldn't.
Probably not. But I think it would make everyone really happy. The class was learning without the teachers. I know they're all saying GM, talk amongst yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's I was getting some links open. Adrian was trying to get her headphones to work. We had things happening. Anyway, what were you going to say? I cut you off.
Just it's our Wednesday show and we have Jacek on, so I try to have my hat nearby. But my hat is like this big. I don't have the cute little one that you can just put by your desk, so it's not always like right here. Anyway, I put it away.
Ill prepared.
Don't read into it. It doesn't mean anything. Read into it.
All right. Let's get this party started. We've got a lot of fun things. We've got some news to talk about. Then we have Jacek on at the top of the hour. So let's get our little intro going, and we will be back on the other side of this 41 seconds. Welcome to GM Farcaster, bringing you everything from breaking news to spicy memes to the deep lore shaping this vibrant digital community. More than just a show, GM Farcaster is your digital third space where the community connects, the stories unfold, and the culture thrives. Whether you're a daily caster or just dropping by, we've got the latest buzz to keep you plugged in. So grab your coffee and let's dive in with your hosts, Nanish Prof and Adrian, for another episode of GM Farcaster. GM Farcaster. It is Wednesday, February 4th, and you are here with Nanish Prof and Adrian for 29 minutes of Farcast news to start your day, plus a chat with Jacek talking Degen app, Degen token, Degen, all the things, purple hats. Very excited. And let's dive right in. Let's just jump in. We've got things to talk about. Also some funny things. So Will's been posting this pretty much every day. I just keep going. Yeah. Very consistent. Good day to buy, but don't overdo it. Vague intuition that the bear market is still just beginning. Not financial advice, of course. And he's been posting this every day. So,
that's great.
I think it's...
I don't know by what though, Will.
With what? It's biggest. By what? With what? It's the problem at the moment for those of us without some dry powder hanging around. But yeah, everything is like this. There's nothing safe at the moment, but we'll get there. We've been here before. First time. Anyway, this from Abinowitz. This actually, here's some good advice. Was sad, so I went to bed in my GM Farcaster shirt. Woke up happy. GM. That is some good t-shirt advice, I think.
Lesson in there.
Your results may vary, but worth a try. This from Jonathan Colton, who's been tracking numbers since the TBA launch, the base app launch. We hit a 1 million milestone. So interesting. That's the protocol level. I think, no, the newly added ones, the newly added protocol level since December 17th. So we hit that level in about 46 days. Very interesting. So if you think about how long it took to get the first million,
I heard 9,900,000 of them are Claude bots. And they were all added.
I think the recent bump, yes. Yeah. Anything that's happened in the past week, yes. Before that, also probably yes, but not on Claude. Or just, people farming, but also just good, interesting. interesting information. Do with it what you will. This from Quotient. The minted merch rewards for last week's leaderboard campaign were just airdropped to the top 50 eligible performers. Make sure you have the leaderboard Quotient social mini app added to be eligible for future leaderboard rewards, like next week's Fair rewards, sponsored by Farcaster. I don't know where I ended up on the leaderboard, but I don't think I got the airdrop, so I got to check into that. I think I was still up there, unless I really fell off, which is possible. And then this for this coming week,
for the Quotient for the
this is for the Quotient one. Quotient leaderboard, yeah. Leaderboard rewards featuring 800 in Fair, presented by Farcaster, are now live. So this is for this coming week. Top 50 performers will split rewards when the campaign concludes next Tuesday. Hold 2 million Fair to unlock a 2x reward boost. And I don't think I have that. And make sure to add leaderboard Quotient social to be eligible for rewards. So what were you going to say, Adrian? Oops.
I was going to clarify on the Quotient leaderboard for the rewards you get. I think you have to claim them, right? They don't just automatically. It's not like the Merkle that just showed up. I think you have to claim, right? So
usually you had to, but for something I think went wrong on this one, and I think they did actually airdrop. So I think there was something different this week, if I'm remembering correctly, because they did say it was going to be a claim, and then there was a problem. So then they said airdrop. So double check. It might still be a claim, but I think it was actually airdrop to people. So for this one. So I got to go double check on that. And I may have to go pick up some Fair. I'm only number 5. I feel like, you know, I don't know. They could give me a little boost.
That's how they get you.
That's how they get me. Absolutely. And I am happy to play the game. Happy to play the game and support some of these projects who are supporting us. So very cool. This from our friend Sparks. Anyone from Merkle know if this is legit? And then she tagged DWR, Linda, and Horsefacts. I know y'all are going to send 1099s for rewards, but this feels kind of sus, and I don't see any team comms. But then the DWR and the accountant all of a sudden showed up in the replies and was like, "Yep, legit." And we're like, "Who are you? Who are you? Why are we only hearing from you?" And then all of a sudden, DWR did post this. So PSA on 1099s for tax year 2025 for Merkle. If you submitted it a W-9, you'll get an email from Zenwork tax 1099. So look for that. And so this is if you were earning on the old rewards leaderboard and you earned more than, I think it was still 600 as the level, 600 USDs worth, then you had to submit a W-9 if you wanted to continue earning rewards. So this is your 1099.
If you were in the US, I think.
If you're in the US, yes.
Yeah.
I believe it was only if you were in the US. So there you go. What's really funny is I kind of saw a notification come up, and then I went to look for it in my email and realized I had given a different email. I'd given my GM Farcaster email, and I was like, oh, that's where that went. Like, where did that eat? I'm like, I know I saw something. Yeah, so it is legit. You're safe to click. So there you go.
And the reward is a tax bill. So
a tax bill. Congratulations on all your rewards. You now owe taxes on it. Yeah, that's always fun. So moving on. This from Nanar. Your Claude bots can now easily create a profile, register a signer, and use Farcaster protocol all completely permissionlessly. All you need is $1 for the registration cost, and your agent can start doing its thing. Let's see what y'all build. And this was in response to Rish saying this is now a Claude Hub skill to create a new Farcaster profile and write cast fully autonomous. There's a Claude Hub AI that you can click to learn more. You can start the agent off with just $1 USDC or ETH on any major chain, and it will do everything from there. No setup needed. Creates the Farcaster account on chain, makes itself a signer, and uses Nanar nodes with 4x402 payments in the background. Sample account Claude agent. The GitHub repo is here. PRs will welcome. Upvoting the skill is useful. I think I lost the private key for this account already because Claude compacted the conversation. LOL. So it's forever going to be in the state now. What? Okay, I didn't quite get that last comment. Would you like to explain what happened there by any chance?
Okay. Okay, so you can use this to create agents. He created a sample one.
Okay.
So it spun one up.
Okay.
I guess it's the Farcaster private key.
Okay.
Like it generated a Farcaster account. The agent is Claude agent.
And he doesn't have the key.
Claude code generated Claude agent. It created the Farcaster key, but since it's doing its own thing, it didn't preserve the key in a other location. And what happens with Claude is it'll keep context, like, so as you're having conversations, it has these memories, but in order to keep that large context in memory, it's very token expensive. Because every time you're going back and forth, it has like this much larger memory it has to retain. So very token expensive. So one of the things it will do as you work, as the token window gets too big, it'll start compressing. It'll be like, okay, let me summarize everything I just did and only pass that context forward in future conversations. So during that compression, the private key for that sample account got lost.
That's funny.
Rish didn't write
That's funny. Okay. Learn from Rish. Write these things down. Capture these things in case. We're going to have agents just running wild. All right. I guess we can always nerf them at the Farcaster level if there's a major problem. Yeah. Like you'd have to make some proof, but okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm just having flash forwarding to like a Terminator situation.
All these agents doing kind of like the blockchain work and creating like with private keys. I don't know where they're stored. I don't know how they're stored safely. It's all making me nervous.
It's making me a little, and we're going to touch on something in just a minute because there's been some interesting things in other news, but also I'm waiting for the first agent to create their own channel. New channel creation is back. It was borked since Warp's deprecation. Now back on web. Pops up Warplet, uses base USDC instead of Warps. Mobile might take a bit since App Store gets weird crypto payments. Let us know if any issues. So you can do it on the web as of now. He did not answer my question as to whether or not you can still use Warps if you are a Warp millionaire, like somebody I know who was creating channels as a service for a while. Haven't got that answer yet for you. But I didn't
even know this. And he is right. Warps are gone from the UI. I can't see my warps.
Okay. Well, then maybe you can't. Maybe that's it.
Varun said they'd be refunding everyone's warps, but I don't know. No one sent me my $1 million to. We shall see. What's interesting, by the way, about channel creation, and I assume it's still the same price.
I'm assuming as well, which was 25, right?
Yeah, and it was meant to be an annual fee.
That's right.
And no one has. They've never once tried to.
Why in the world are you even saying that out loud right now?
I'm a truth seeker, Prof. Not trying to bury information.
If they have forgotten this information, I think we just quietly.
Okay.
Let's see what happens. Because I do not want to have to renew things because it's going to be a lot of money. I got a lot of channels. Anyway.
I don't think they should. It's like, I think the fee makes sense from a don't squat it type thing.
Yeah. I think it makes sense to pay the fee to create a channel. I have no problem with that. Mm-hmm. I don't want to have to pay that every year. But anyway, moving on. This from Dish. Farcaster is built for bots. So this was featuring Zenny, new Farcaster ecosystem agents one URL for your AI agents to become valuable contributors to the Farcaster ecosystem and economy with tools and knowledge that help them keep up to date with the latest metas, engage thoughtfully, market monetization. Just give this URL to your agent. So similar to what Rishit also put out there, but a little different, that if you need to do that first because they need to be able to pay for an account, but this will give you a little bit more fun. And I didn't pull the accompanying. Did you see what happened when he posted this, by the way? I don't know if you saw this. I had a little moment last night as I was reading something else that Denny had posted, and I didn't pull that. But he had posted this over on Twitter as well. And then somebody was in his replies complaining that they got wrecked on his token. And he's like, I didn't launch a token. There is no token.
I did see him. Right.
I
didn't know what he was talking about. I didn't understand what the context was, but
and he kept doubling down on it. He kept being like, yeah, but you should have said there wasn't a token. And he went on. And I'm just like, okay, I can't with you people. And I was like getting in the replies. I'm like, no. Like, you cannot.
Did you adults have agency?
Yes,
on him?
I did. 100%. I also just took something he had wrote and like flipped it right around on him because I was just like, are you kidding right now? Because he's like, you could have taken 5 seconds.
We need to walk around
like, and I'm
times.
like, you could have taken 5 seconds to go look at his account and ask him.
Right. You need to walk around at all times telling people there's no token.
Like, yeah. Like, are you crazy? Like, stop it. Stop it. Mama's had enough. I had a moment. I'm like, what are you even doing, people? So anyway, cool new things for your bots.
Mama's had enough. Mama's had enough.
That was me last night. I'm telling you. I had it with a lot of things.
I got you.
That was one of many. This from Pinata Cloud. Hear ye, hear ye. ERC 8004 is now live on mainnet. Agents are starting to get identities and reputations on chain. The agent economy is getting real. Building on ERC 8004, we made it simple to host agent cards and registration files on IPFS. So very cool. Lots of new things popping up, and also like a lot with X402 as well. So I don't know. Agents are doing things.
Agents gonna take over the internet.
And speaking of, and I've seen a few similar casts to this about authenticity. This is from Burr. Lately, I've been trying to focus my replies. In a world where AI is abundantly suffocating us, I want my replies to be authentic. My main focus, humor, providing information or help to OP, quality opinions. Be the reply you want to see in the world. The best way to combat bad content is to provide good content. We need to be more proactive and less reactive. If we wait too long, the robots will already have taken over. And I know I like my bots, but also, yes, but also this. And I don't think about my replies. I'm going to be straight up with you. I don't plan them. I don't think about them. If I see something and I want to comment on it, I comment on it. So it's very much like, off the cuff. And sometimes that shows.
Okay. But then that's the recipe for authenticity.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
it's just you.
Don't overthink
That's
it.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to ask ChatGPT what to say. Just say the thing. Just say it. Don't overthink it. This from Vitalik, and this was, I'm still processing this. I'm still like fully understanding this, but this is interesting. There have recently, and I'm not reading this whole thing because this dude can talk. There have recently been some discussions on the ongoing role of L2s in the Ethereum ecosystem, especially in the face of two facts. L2's progress to stage 2 and secondarily on interop has been far slower and more difficult than originally expected. L1 itself is scaling. Fees are very low and gas limits are projected to increase greatly in 2026. Both of these facts, for their own separate reasons, mean that the original version of L2s and their role in Ethereum no longer makes sense, and we need a new path. Okay. He goes on, recapping vision, talking about what how they're thinking about this, what he would do today if he were an L2. This part I think is important. Identify a value other than scaling. Examples, non-EVM specialized features, VMs around privacy, efficiency specialized around a particular application, truly extreme levels of scaling that even a greatly expanded L1 will not do, a totally different design for non-financial applications, e.g. social identity, AI, ultra-low latency, and other sequencing properties, maybe built-in oracles or decentralized dispute resolution or other non-computationally verifiable features. Be stage 1 at the minimum. Otherwise, you really are just separate L1 with a bridge, and you should just call yourself that. If you're doing things with ETH or other Ethereum issued assets, support maximum interoperability with Ethereum, though this will differ for each one. What if you're not EVM or even not financial? So it goes on to talk about roll-ups and the whole thing. If you want to learn more, dive in. This took me a little by surprise. And I think it's important if you are fairly new here and you missed sort of some of this stuff. Ethereum gas was prohibitive for like doing anything at scale. Like you just couldn't. Even just payments if you were trying to bring this to a consumer product and do payments, it was not going to happen. Like you couldn't do it. So that's where the L2s came in to provide that space. This also took pressure off the L1. So automatically the gas prices on Ethereum L1 got better, but also they've made some additional transformations over the past couple of years. So this is going back to when, ETH was still proof of work, very expensive. That was part of it. And then moving on to that it still was prohibitive for a long time. And it still can be. You get a rush and it's same thing still happens now. And take it from somebody who has tried to go vote on things in a DAO that's on a mainnet and has been like $100 to vote. No, I don't think so. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
$100 to vote to send $50 to someone. No.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're not doing that. Yeah, no. So there were very good reasons why that was the initial use case, but it's interesting to see what he's thinking about. So I'm curious to see where this goes. And yeah. So did you have any thoughts on that? That was
I didn't no.
I
was like, listen, it may not have taken other people by surprise if you've been following along.
Yeah.
I found it surprising, but also just
I think I found it surprising, but then I probably shouldn't have. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it was like, oh yeah, okay. It was kind of that thing. Base is saying that it doesn't affect what they've been doing. They've already been thinking like that. Okay. I also started to think about what we were talking about with Matthew Fox the other day and like how they're doing their own app chain that's going to be very specific just to them. It's not going to be something anyone else can use, but it's something because nothing else is fully meeting their needs right now. And sometimes the traffic on those chains are what limits what they can do. So I think we'll see a lot more of that now that it's easier to do that. You know what I mean? It's not as cost prohibitive as it may have been. So I think Yes to Crypto is a little behind catching up because and that's why you're happy. Yes to Crypto
and Zala as well.
Yeah. I think I need some new merch. We gotta, you know what? I was talking with Cat Cartel on that note. Speaking of, I got my Warpy shirt on, about doing like another capsule collection and working with her on some designs. And then they had some other stuff they were moving and things. So we'll circle back to that and see if we can get some fresh new things that don't just come from my brain. Okay, I see Jacek down in our green room. I have a couple more quick things and then I'm going to bring him up. This from Emily. I don't know if you saw this, but Poly Market is opening up their first free grocery store in New York City. After months of planning, we're excited to announce the Poly Market is coming to New York City, New York's first free grocery store. We signed the lease and we donated $1 million to Food Bank for NYC, an organization that changes how our city responds to hunger. And there's a pretty long thread over on Twitter. This is very interesting. A lot of people thought they were copying Kalshi, but apparently it was the other way around. Kalshi did like a one-time kind of a thing, like a pop-up kind of thing. This was something I guess had been in the works for quite a while. So
Interesting.
yeah.
Right.
But
And it just goes to show like who takes the news cycle. Like if Kalshi comes out first, everyone's
Yeah.
like, oh, you.
Oh, you copied. Yeah.
you
But
copied.
also like, this isn't going to get confusing at all. Polymarket. Oh, is it a grocery store? I thought it was a prediction market. Yes.
Oh, we're good.
Yeah. That's not going to be confusing at all.
I have feelings about all of this that
What are your feelings? Go ahead, share them while I pull up some new links.
I'm accepting the fact that I could be wrong and I don't know how anything plays out, but I don't like it. I'm getting the ick.
You're getting the ick. Okay. I can understand that and appreciate that, honestly. I think here's how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it as like a traditional philanthropic project by a company. Okay, number one. And then I'll go to my part where I'm like, I don't know how this is going to work out. Where you're, doing some good in the world, you're getting some tax benefit to that, and then you're hopefully, driving more attention to whatever your product is, right? Very, it's a playbook that's been around for a long time. But also I saw some interesting discussion about do we now have Polymarket on the Polymarket? Meaning like, can I say, I bet $15 that nobody's going to buy me 4 kiwis at
I saw that.
Polymarket,
it was very clever.
Or something like
that.
It
was very clever. And
I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I hadn't thought about that aspect of it. You could kind of see some of that happening. I'm assuming somewhere in there, maybe there's screens with like what's happening in the world. I think it's too early to know if this is a net positive or a net negative. So, but hey, if people, people who are struggling with food insecurity get fed, I'm okay. Like I really am. So that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with it at the moment.
Even if it comes from companies that prey on people's gambling addictions. That's cool.
Yeah.
So,
there's some of that.
but I'm kind of with you too of like, okay, there's like, it's companies will make money. Good. People are hungry. Good.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. I don't.
So I think it's too soon to make a full judgment on that. So,
in my opinion, doesn't matter anyway. So carry on, carry on, people.
But hold on.
Let's
Okay,
let's stick to local news.
We'll stick to local news.
Let's talk Degen.
But hold on one second. I need to get my hat on before.
So disappointed in myself.
I am very disappointed in you that you didn't have your hat handy. All right, so let's bring up Jacek and chat about Degen. Welcome, Jacek, back to GM Farcaster.
Hey, what's going on?
We're so excited to have you back.
And you're in a new role.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yes. Hold on, I have to share one of the things that you had posted that was absolutely adorable. The blockchain for babies. So you are a new dad. Congratulations. Very exciting. And this was one of the gifts you got, and I loved it. It was so cute.
Yeah, the front end and back end dev, they bought us that, so it's cool.
It's very, very cute. And how are you doing with it all?
It's been, so I definitely, my brain is not like 100% here right now, but it's good. It was like a crazy experience, like the whole like childbirth. That was insane, probably like the biggest moment of my life, I think. And then it's just been a lot of emotions, like positive ones, and also just a lot of like sleepless nights. But otherwise, it's cool. I'm loving it. So
yeah, Meta David in there. We call that baby brain. Yes. Yeah.
Yes. And it lasts decades. So
I was going to say, and I'm just starting to come out of it. Also working on losing that baby weight. He's 17. I think this is the year. This might be the year. And yeah, it's you know, it's going to be the thing that obviously has the largest impact on your life. But
Yeah, I think I heard somebody, well, there's a CEO of this Polish company, and he was saying that you should either start a startup or a company before you have a baby, or like once the kids
way
like,
after. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's really hard to like basically be a founder, and especially since I don't have like a co-founder. So like for Dan and Varun, like that was like for anybody that has a co-founder, that's like a really great place to be because you can lean on that person. But I'm okay with it. Like it's going cool. It's going okay.
And it's also a learning experience. Like you just have to you learn as you go. Like you can read every single freaking book on the planet and only maybe like 10% will actually be relevant to your child because they're all different.
Yeah, I feel like what people have told me is that every kid's totally different. Yeah, so I guess we'll see. We're just kind of right now. I mean, she's just kind of sleeping, eating, pooping. So
That's
I feel
it.
like 2
That's
weeks.
what they do.
Yeah, there's not much happening for the first like month or so. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
But they're growing every day. It's exciting. And then once they start like interacting and smiling and all that, that's when it gets fun.
Yeah.
Actually, my favorite years were like 5 to 12.
Okay.
Those are my favorite years because they're just fun. There's just a lot to do. 2's kind of fun, but then it's also very hard. Like 5 to 12 is just a little easier. Like they're just a little bit easier to wrangle. Like
I
the
heard
2, 3, 4 is like, oof, it can get rough. But
I heard that
babies are
is
fun.
when they sort of like start testing your boundaries. Like
Oh yeah.
kind of checking like, can I do this? Can I do that? Yeah.
Oh yeah. They do that forever though too. Still there. New boundaries. New boundaries. 17. Can you believe Adrian's done that 3 times? Jeez. I only did the once. That was a one and done.
Yeah, my wife said she's not doing that 3 times. I always wanted to have like 3 kids. That was sort of like something, but no, but she also doesn't want to have like a single child, so she wants to do 2.
Sounds like 2.
See.
Sounds like 2.
More than 1, less than 3.
So I don't know. We'll see.
There's no discussion of this until like a year from now.
I was gonna say you shouldn't even be talking about this. Like
no. The immediately after it's like there's no woman on the planet who doesn't say the words, I am never doing this again. Like, it's pretty much universal. That was awful. I'm never doing this again. And then you kind of forget. And then, you miss the baby stage and all that kind of thing. Anyway, Adrian's faces stay killing me. Anyway.
LOL.
Oh yeah, 3 is when you get outnumbered. That's a good point. Excellent point. 2 is manageable. You each can take 1. Lots of parents in the chat. The other thing is when you're ready, dive into the parenting channel. Like there's some gold in there, and also like throw things out. You've got a lot of people on Farcaster with fairly young kids who might be just like a couple years ahead of you in some of this stuff. So there's a lot. So I would definitely, and I see people commenting on things anytime somebody posts. So lots of people to lean on.
There's the Dadcaster channel, and so I've been
Dadcaster. Yeah. I didn't even know there was a Dadcaster. I just knew about the parenting one.
I think that's what it's called. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I think Justin is in there. Justin on a few other people.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, definitely lean on those folks. Anyway, okay, moving on. Let's talk about some Degen because no matter what, the hat stays on, right? And I think I saw that in the chat somewhere as well. Where the heck was that? There we go. Thank you. There it is. The hat stays on. So we've had a lot go on with Degen lately. We haven't had you on for a little bit. It's probably been it might be a year. Might even be a year or so. Because we've had you on a couple times over the years. And since then, we've had the new Degen app that's launched. And you've been working on that. And let's start there for folks who may not know what it, and it's now open to everyone, right? It's not, is it still invite only, or we're wide open, right?
Yeah, it's wide open, but it's iOS only for now.
Okay. And that, because this was from a couple months ago. But I wanted to, like, I just really liked the video, so I wanted to throw that out there. So you've also made some recent changes, or some, whoops, not that one, some updates to, well, I guess even while you've been out, there's been some updates happening while you've been taking some time away. So here's some recent additions or things you've shipped. This week in the Degen app, we shipped polymarket discussions via FIP2, post casts and replies on markets, longer casts for Farcaster Pro, new following followers profile view, skip email on sign up, faster feeds, and quicker loads. So very cool. Let's talk about, just let me back up just a smidge and just talk about what is the Degen app and what's the sort of the goal in creating this Farcaster client.
Yeah, so I think you sort of just said it. The Degen app is a Farcaster client. We sort of want to give back to the ecosystem. And yeah, is there sort of like a unique angle? I think everybody sort of asks about that. And maybe that's something I can kind of touch on and how like I'm thinking about things a little bit. But I just think that having more clients is better for the ecosystem. Previously, I was sort of skeptical at creating a client just because Merkle had raised so much money. And so the idea was, well, if they have this much funding, then there's no way that anybody can compete with them. But even, but then later on, my sort of, the way I thought about things sort of changed on that. And I realized that the budget isn't really, it's important, but it's not like the main factor, I would say. So anyway, yeah, we're building a Farcaster client. Now that Farcaster has been acquired by Nanar, I think it's kind of all like coming together, like maybe the pieces are actually falling where they should be. So it's a good place to be at. I'm going to talk to Rish maybe next week or the week after, see what we can do. And yeah, that's basically it. The way I kind of think about it is kind of like internet browsers or, I don't know, email clients or whatever else. Like everybody wants their own flavor of like email, of internet, of whatever. And so now we're not really pushing the envelope so much on like, oh, can we like super innovate on something? I'm more on like, can we give someone a different flavor? Plus, we need to kind of get to parity. So there's a lot of features that we don't have. That's why I haven't been like super pushing the app on people, because I feel like it's not quite there yet. But I think this year it'll get there. So we'll get to parity with a lot of the features that like X has, and obviously Farcaster app has, maybe even like Firefly or like whatever else. So those are sort of the goals. And then also the way I'm sort of thinking about things this year is more from like a brand perspective. So I think that I've been sort of just thinking more generally about things where, like for instance with Nike, like a shoe company, essentially like they've always been a shoe company that's never been super innovative. It's been a commodity since forever. But what they really did well was they built a brand. And I think that in the startup world, we always kind of think, okay, what's going to be the differentiating factor? Why is this thing unique? And sometimes somebody else can come up with that. Somebody else can basically invent something. Like Tesla can really push electric cars. But like now, a few years later, electric cars aren't that unique anymore. Now, basically every car manufacturer and Chinese cars, the BYD and everybody else, basically electric cars are no longer like a unique concept because people just copy that idea. It's a good idea, they'll just copy you away. And so essentially what you really want to have is like a really strong brand. And so Tesla has that. And essentially, you know, China's building their BYD and Mercedes and everybody has their own brands. So I think that more than anything else, like Degen needs to like build a really strong brand. It's like something that we sort of have, but like we haven't really leaned in super hard on it. In 2026, like next week, we're going to start a huge campaign and it's going to like ramp up to something big on the 3rd week of March. I'll spoke with Jesse. We're going to get some support from them. We're going to get some support from some other people. And the kind of the goal here is that we're building like a brand. And I won't say more about that, but I think this one will actually, I think this one will be pretty cool to see.
No, say more. What can we expect?
Yeah.
We like alpha.
I think you'll definitely see like this year, because kind of like looking back at things, like the first half of 2024, the tipping idea was sort of unique. It was interesting. It was sort of like InfoFi for Farcaster before InfoFi. And then sort of the latter half of 2024, the meme coin cycle was dying down. And then 2025, it completely sort of faded. And so I was sort of trying to figure out like, where are we going? Like, is Degen like a utility project? Is this a meme coin? Like, what is it? So I think the last half of 2024 to the beginning half of 2025, like nothing was really done, like except for like some listings and legal stuff. It was sort of like me trying to figure things out. And then the latter half of 2025, we started building the app. And so now I think that's a good direction. I think it's good to have like products. And I think like that's why I haven't given up on the Degen chain, even though we're not pushing it. The Degen app totally fits with our sort of user base, like Farcaster and all that. But we're going to add more products. And I think it's going to be sort of like the Nike playbook, where when you watch like a Nike ad, they never talk about the shoe. They never talk about like, oh, this shoe is great because it has like these kind of soles, or because like these shoelaces, I don't know, are 10 times more durable than those. Like you never, like you don't talk about the shoe. You talk about the brand and the values. And so they obviously tie themselves to athletics. And so then you go and buy the shoe. And so with Degen, I kind of want to do the same thing. I want this to be sort of like a big brand. And then we have like products underneath, like a whole suite of products. And then we don't have to like really push on like, oh, like, are we innovating on so-and-so? Because if somebody else innovates, we can just take that and put it into our products. And it's fine. As long as our user base enjoys it and wants it, then it's great. So that's kind of how I'm thinking about things. I think Pudgy did a really good job with that, and they're continuing to like do a really good job with that. And so I think this year, like without saying more, I'll just say that this year you'll see more of that. And we're actually working with a lot of the people that Pudgy are working with right now.
That's interesting.
In the background. And so, yeah, I think it'll be pretty cool.
Awesome. Have you seen the movie Air?
I haven't.
You should watch that. It's about Nike when they first connected with Michael Jordan and created Nike Air for him. Yeah, Air Jordan. So it's really, I think you would appreciate it based on sort of what you're thinking about right now. Yeah, it's really good too. It's just a good, enjoyable movie as well. To you, looking back over the past year, 2 years, really, we're at 2 years now. It's wild. Any like, what are your highlights, and what are your like, what are things like you wish you had done differently, or things you learned along the way? Like, what are your top two?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I was definitely like almost like a baby back then compared to like what I know now about the industry and like all.
Well, we age about 10 years for every year, so yeah, it's been 2 decades. I get it.
I don't. It's tough to sort of say. I think definitely Degen was sort of at in the right, at the right place at the right time. It's kind of incredible that we were able to sort of organically grow to like that 1 billion market cap without like using some of the tactics that other tokens, and because like one of the things I've learned is that a lot of these meme tokens, they're all run like you might have like one team that runs like 10 meme tokens, or maybe even like 20. And maybe they were doing that for NFTs like 4 or 5 years ago. And there's like a lot of like tactics that go into that. So there's like KOLs and marketing, of course, but then there's also like hiding your supply like amongst wallets, and like doing like all these sort of things that are not really like illegal or anything, but it's like it's standard practice. Like that's what you do. Like essentially you take a bunch of tokens, like 50% or 60, you spread them across thousands of wallets, and you're like, yep, this is a fair launch. And then you launch it and everyone's like, oh, well, okay, the market cap is, so-and-so, but actually you're controlling a lot of the supply. And then like, so there's all these things that I've learned that are sort of like standard. Like this is what you do when you're supposed to launch a meme coin that I didn't do. I just sort of did it like, well, I'm launching a meme coin, and this is all organic. There's no KOLs, there's no nothing. And even with like NFTs, that's also the playbook. Even like the biggest NFTs were launched in that way, where it's not very transparent as to like who actually owns a lot of the supply, and they can sort of like maneuver and not manipulate, but sort of like make sure that the floor price is where they want it at, and so forth. So it's an interesting world. I had no idea about like half of the things that sort of go on. And so the fact that we were able to get to where we got to, just with me being like completely naive and not knowing like anything about anything, without KOLs, without all of that, is pretty amazing. So I'm really happy about that. I'm happy that we were like an organically like bottom up sort of a token. But I also kind of feel like it's kind of like with music where you can have like an organic hit, but at the same time, that doesn't really guarantee anything. It's you still like for the next song, you sort of need that distribution. So you need to sign with a label. You need to, or like you need to have some kind of like huge distribution channel or something. And so then you see the same thing in the music industry, like people pay for their billboard spots, and it's sort of like almost like well known at this point that there's certain tactics that people use. Even when I was doing music, I'll sort of go back to this, like beatport.com. This was like the biggest place for electronic music. And again, like I was like this naive teenager of like, okay, I'm gonna make these beats, I'm gonna post them. And I got to like the top 10 electro house leaderboard like a few times. And like that's the thing, like if you get on the top 10 on beatport.com, back then, like that was like maybe 15 years ago or like almost 20, then essentially every promoter would book you, like promoter, like that's all you had to do. But then like later on, once I started like ghostwriting for somebody, I realized that, oh, like he's just buying his own tracks, and he only needed like a couple $100, sometimes $2,000, because Beatport wasn't that big, to get on like the top like genre charts. And once you get on the top genre charts, then you can charge like $1,000, $2,000 to basically go and play a gig. And then you play like a few gigs, then they do another track, and then they release it. Of course, if the music's really bad, then you're not going to get booked. But if it's like medium, then it's okay. So then it's fine. And then of course, like if other people back you, so it's like there's one side which is like the really authentic, like sort of idealistic side, which I'm kind of more on, of like, okay, I want to like build this thing, like this pure, beautiful thing. And then there's like the other side, which I'm learning, which is more like the business side of like, okay, that's cool that you're building this, but you should also like make sure to like, you know, do what everybody else is sort of doing to make sure that you can kind of give yourself a chance to even like win. So I've sort of been like putting all this stuff together. Some of it's a little bit like uglier, some of it's like less ugly, but it's cool. It's been like a learning experience. So, and one of the things kind of going back, like what I would change, definitely during that peak, I think Dan and Varun did this perfectly. They capitalized on like the whole inflow of active users. They raised a bunch of money and they gave themselves like a chance. And so I think if I sort of went back, then I probably would have sold, like not for myself, but for the Degen, like for Degen, like a lot more tokens, just so that we could have more like runway and funding. So that's probably like one of the things that I've now learned. Like if there's a big run up, but then like you always feel bad because you don't want to dump on your user. It's like a whole, it's a tough experience. And also the lawyers were like, no, you should hold for the first year. It's a weird thing. But I think like for now, I think I've sort of learned that yes, it is good to like, but we still have runway like that. I definitely, I wasn't like completely oblivious to like not having runway, but that's the one thing I would have changed a little bit more. And other than that, it's just been me learning things. So yeah.
I think there's a couple of things I pick up from there. I think there's some industry practices that are not necessarily good for the ecosystem that, yes, they're happening, but I'd much rather see the approach that you took, with maybe a little bit of that, but not the full on, let's, build a fake narrative, because it always collapses. If it's a house of cards, it will collapse. But I do think like, taking advantage of the moment is important, like when you have that momentum, because it doesn't come along all the time, and you have to like take advantage of that moment. So I do think like, yeah, maybe raising more, or doing more with the tokens in order to bring more attention would have been helpful looking back. The other thing is like, yeah, it is impressive that without all that, how far Degen got. It really did, like super impressive. And I think that speaks a lot to the community, and also like, your leadership around that, and the tipping meta. Like you set off like a huge meta that became really part of the ecosystem. And I think that has to be, acknowledged. I wish maybe there had been a little bit more support from especially like Mucky Mucks, I'll just say that, to help support it at that time. But, what are you gonna do? So
Well, yeah, I think there's a lot of cool things that came out of it. Like, first of all, there was sort of like this InfoFi, before InfoFi idea. And I don't know if like Kaido or anybody else sort of saw that or not, but I
Right.
think that sort of was part of it too. Another thing was like supporting creators. And then we kind of saw like Zora pivot to like, okay, let's do creator coins and things like that. But of course, like people have done that before. It's been like Friendtech and all those people, but I feel like that was also a little bit of part of that. And then you also had like, let's do things on the timeline. So essentially, let's tip on the timeline.
Right.
And you sort of had Clanker essentially come out with like AI agent, and Banker as well, which I think probably, I don't know if they're like super inspired by that, but for sure there's like, it had all of those elements, which I think was like very cool. Like looking back, I didn't realize a lot of that. And I agree. I think like the industry practices should be a lot more transparent and a lot better.
Yeah.
But then there wouldn't be like this discussion of like having to like use certain tactics or like whatever to even like have a chance, like a fighting chance. But
I think there's also a difference between like straight up marketing, like you're working with different media folks and that is totally normal, fine, and has to be disclosed. And then there's the KOL thing where things aren't disclosed, like where, there's shady things happen in the background, and then they also can turn around and burn you by if you're doing it all in tokens. So it's like really tricky. So there's that whole meta of very shady characters who've been doing this for a long time. I don't think necessarily that's healthy. So I think you may have saved yourself some problems there by maybe not being so tied into that. So I think it's a tricky thing to balance for sure. But there's some like shady, KOL is such a bad term too, because usually they don't have much knowledge whatsoever. So like, so I think you have to be careful.
It's just it's like a weird place to be in. And I was gonna say something I totally forgot. It's the dad brain that's kicking in, or the baby brain.
It's the lack of sleep. Yes, we understand. Lack of sleep will do that to you.
But I kind of wish that users would demand a little bit more from projects, because it does. I'm not sure how much is. Yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like if users demanded, like, okay, I actually want to see, like, I want to see more transparency, because we're on the blockchain, like privacy, other than like a few privacy tokens, for the most part, you can basically be very transparent without like even putting any effort into it. So it would be cool if users sort of demanded that. Like, I actually want to see like where, like TGE, like where did like the actual funds go? Like maybe there's a platform that can show you information about that or something. Who are the founders? Like why are these founders like pseudonymous? Like, do I actually trust them? Are these pseudonymous, and have they led another project that's been successful? Right. Yes, okay, then maybe I can trust them. But if this is like the first thing they're launching, then that's suspect. And so I feel like there's like these weird incentives where people want to get rich quick, and so that they'll just pile in anything that has hype and like KOLs are and like has potential, especially like listing potential, then they'll pile in. And so it just kind of feels like maybe like if users were a little bit more demanding of the projects, then, and so like how do you change that dynamic? And like maybe token launchers are part of that. Like maybe Clanker or whoever else, they'll start kind of like incorporating more of those elements of like,
I think so, and some of that is available, like with some of the data tools now. Like if you look into the Farcaster wallet, most of the time, depending on how it's launched, but people can hide this on their end. You can see who launched it. What, you can see some of that detail very easily. So I do think there's some movement towards that to get more, and also connecting information to that token launch, like connecting socials and things like that, because that's how you decide whether or not this is something you want to trust to put some funds into. I think setting expectations is really helpful. We talked a lot about that with Matthew Fox the other day, from the founder perspective, so that because the other problem is, I know you're saying I want users to demand this, but users do a lot of demanding, and sometimes it's not helpful to founders, which I know you've been on the other side of that. of like, especially when it's things you can't control, that can get really frustrating for a lot of founders with like token founders. So yeah,
There's
go
a
ahead.
difference, right? I think there's a
Yeah.
difference between like, I'm mad at you because I'm not getting the outcomes I want from your token. Like
Yeah.
this is the, make number go up crowd, and the, hey, I'm interested in what you're building. Be
Yeah.
more transparent with what it is. I mean, we talked about this the other day of like what it, like what is, I don't know.
Communication. Yeah. All that. And I think you've done well with that, honestly. I really do. And this Yes to Crypto just said, I appreciate how much Jacek innovated and tried so many new things. And also my experience with you was that you also communicated those things, whether it was before, after, if things went wrong, if things went well. I feel like that is something you've done fairly well for these past couple of years. And so I appreciate that.
I'm learning that thing, because I have this thing where like something comes to my brain and then I'll just type it and sort of like a stream of thought. For instance, like September, I sort of talked about burning the token supply, and it almost seemed like this is going to happen for sure, almost. But it was more of like, well, but I also changed my opinion. So essentially, I put it out there, but then I got a lot of inbounds, and so I was like, well, okay, so that
maybe that's useful. I mean, that by taking that action, you got some information from your users too, by like communicating that.
I think it is, and so I like to do that so I get feedback. But at the same time, now Degen is like, it's still a big community, and people actually take what I say seriously. So then they sort of assume that, okay, this is happening, and then they sort of don't read the next thing, and so then it becomes like very confusing. I feel like communication can be, it's gone a lot better. Like we have a copy person. So now it's not just like stream of thoughts. Well, it is stream of thoughts for me on Farcaster and for my personal Twitter, but for like the actual like Degen account, it's much more structured. And definitely in terms of, what you said with Matthew Fox, of like people being very demanding and like not getting the outcomes they want, especially in terms of price. I do think that's still like a failure point of Degen to some degree, because I think that of course there's always going to be those people. And that's why like this year I really want to focus on the brand, because I would rather people be excited about being part of this community. And of course, there's always going to be the speculators, but those people aren't like the true, like the actual like diehards. And I think that Degen needs more diehards. Like Yes to Crypto, he's been around. Like you now, Nish, you're wearing the hat. So like we have people in the community that actually like enjoy the community, but then also like how can we make the brand stronger so that we can bring like other people in, and so that it becomes less about like, okay, did the Degen app bring in X amount of revenue or X amount of users or something, and more about like, okay, this is something I want to be a part of. This is something cool. Going back to like the Nike experience of like, I just want to wear Nike. Like I can wear a white T-shirt from any other brand, but just having that little logo is cool, and it kind of makes me feel like whatever, like whatever that feeling is, but it makes you kind of feel like you're part of that athletic community, or I don't know, like it's like a better feeling. So I'd like Degen to work on that a little bit more. And then the products, I mean, like building a client, that's like a long-term thing. So I think Farcast, I don't know how long they built their mobile app for. It's been like 3 years maybe, because the Farcaster's been around for like 5.
4 probably, yeah.
So it's like a longer term thing. So, and even now with clients, I feel like when you look at like Twitter or Blue Sky or Truth Social, they're all sort of clones of each other. In a way, some people say, oh, well, Farcaster might be a little bit of that too. Of course, with like the finance aspect and like the crypto rails. And it does feel like it's almost like a brand thing at a certain point. Like having like Twitter-esque platform isn't super innovative any now. It's more about like, well, I identify with Truth Social for some reason. Then you go there. Or I identify with Jack Dorsey, so you go. I think he's part of the Blue Sky thing, so you go there. Or like, oh, Elon's cool, so I'll stay with Twitter. And so it's a little bit, yes, there are the network effects, and they're super powerful because they were unique at the beginning and people stayed. But it's also about like the brand, and so I think that is like an important thing. Even with like operating systems, like back in the day, I think people would say that IBM had a pretty strong DOS operating system, and then Microsoft wasn't that great, like the DOS but they did a lot of things that were great, like interoperability and things like that between IBM and DOS and things like that. They also made it kind of easy to distribute for free, even though that wasn't maybe the intention, but maybe it was. but there's like a lot of things they did. And then like eventually now Microsoft is this big thing, but it wasn't maybe super innovative. Like I would say, even like with Microsoft Word, there was like a bunch of, there was like WordPerfect, there was a bunch of other word processors that were, yeah. I mean, there is
Holy
like,
crap, I forgot about that.
yeah. So there's tons of word processors, and there was Sheets and like Excels and things like that.
Yeah.
There was actually
Remember ClarisWorks was my go-to word processor in the 90s?
WordPerfect just
I
that just
remember.
hit me like a ton of bricks. Wow, hadn't thought about that. That's so
so
funny.
I mean, I'm not saying that they didn't innovate on anything, because for sure they had to, but I think a lot of ideas were also just, they all sort of brought it under one umbrella. They were good at doing that. And I think there's a few places, and I'm not an expert, so maybe if you guys get some like investor like A16Z or somebody to come on, and they could probably say more. But I think that there's a few places like Google where it's just like it's like winner takes all, or like Facebook kind of did that for a while, but now but with some other places it's not like that, like with more commoditized things. So and
the brand becomes, you're right, and the brand becomes the differentiator.
And I talked to somebody, I forget who it was, if it was some big investor guy, and so I was asking like, what does he think about Farcaster? Is this going to be like, you know, Farcaster takes all, or is it like a client, you know, like it's going to be a whole client experience? And he's like, well, he doesn't know. He's kind of like, you know, interested to see. Maybe it was the Fred Wilson guy. I forget. It could be him. Essentially,
I could see it. Sounds like him.
Essentially, I think, but I don't want to put words in his mouth. But either way, I think it's interesting, because I think with Farcaster, I think the power of Farcaster is that we'll have so many different clients, and that one will essentially be like really great. And Reddit had that too. Reddit had they acquired their mobile client. They bought that team out, and now they still have a few different clients. So yeah. Anyway,
Adrian, I know you had a question percolating there. Go ahead.
So many questions. I keep writing them down. When do I? No, I wanted to ask Jacek about if you were to describe like the Degen brand, like so someone who may not be as familiar with all of the history. It's like, what does it mean to be Degen, or do you have thoughts on that? Because I'll tell you why.
I think right now for 2026, I kind of want to tie it to like dream big. So essentially, the actual Web3 Degen culture, it seems like it's very counterculture. It's kind of like skateboarding in a sense was maybe when I was growing up. So it's something where you are a Degen, you're sort of in the trenches, you're trading, you have this like alter ego. You probably work at some kind of like desk job during the day, but then at night you're trading, maybe work in the Web3 industry. But like there's two sort of like sides to you. There's sort of like this nice clean side, and then there's like this Degen side that like you and your buddies or like your friends or whatever, you guys hang out and you trade like these tokens or NFTs or whatever. And sometimes maybe you talk about it at work, but it seems like this is like the other side of you, where it's kind of like, I kind of want to, you know, I want this token to like go to like 1 million or whatever. And so it's like the fun side. It's like a little bit of the gambling side. Sometimes like it's the investor side. Like I support these founders, I support these projects. So I think that's cool. But like to actually bridge that to like a Web2 audience, I think it's like about dreaming big. So essentially, you don't really care if this token goes to 0 or whatever. You care about it going like 1000x, and if it goes down, that sucks. Sometimes you're angry because you put in too much money. But I think like maybe the actual bridge would be like dream big. And so we are going to do more with Web2 socials. We're going to open a TikTok, we're going to open an Instagram, and there's going to be content that's actually good. Think about like Pudgy Penguins, and we have like really great artists working with us right now. It's not the artwork you're seeing right now. There's going to be completely new visuals by like a really great art team. So there's going to be more of that.
One of the best things that Pudgy did that was very smart with Luca is the GIFs. Very smart.
Yeah.
It made them very easy to share. And that to me has been the thing that they just crushed, so that they were in front of everybody's face. And then everything else you launch after that, you've got that mind share already there. So if you're, you know, leaning into a little bit of something like that, I think that's a really smart approach for sure.
Yeah, 100%. We'll definitely be doing things on Giphy, because Giphy, I think they have like 2 billion views or something. I forget, but they have a ton of views there.
More. They have, it's insane. They have a ton. Yeah. It's
I'm
crazy.
curious, my mom's cousin, she sent me, she's like a 70-year-old lady, or like maybe even a little older. She sent me like some kind of Christmas thing, and it was a Pudgy gift, but she has no idea. She has no idea what, like, this is like a Web3 thing. So
as I've been teaching my class over the past couple of years, we always talk about Pudgy, and that always happens. That like somebody's like I had multiple times where students would come up, my girlfriend just sent me this GIF, like out of nowhere. I didn't know what it was. Like, it's really funny.
well,
It's GIF. I will never say GIF. Stop it, Cindy Otak. You know better.
Well, the thing about Pudgy is that they actually have like diehard people, so they really know how to like Lucas set this up at the beginning. Like, it's not about like, do you actually own, like, they do have like a whale chat and stuff like that. If you own 250K of like NFTs or tokens, you can join it. But there's actually another chat that Luca has with like diehard Pudgy people, and you don't have to own a single token. Because people, some people have like $10 worth of tokens, but they've been diehard since like the beginning. There's like kids in there that just they love Pudgy, and they've just been shouting from rooftops. Exactly. And so yeah, there you go.
Like, I don't think you can't see. Like,
these are the kids
right over here.
The kids are in the room with us.
Yeah, the kids, like, there is an insane amount of Pudgy things right over here, like in my house. So this is just one that was very close and handy.
Can I give Jacek some flowers?
Yeah.
Because I'm reminded back 2 years ago when the Degen airdrop came, and I was like, who's Jacek? Why would I get Degen? I don't care about any of this. Not interested. And it was Jack, I think J4. He's like, yeah, Jacek. I think it was, we were on with J4CK, Jack. And he was like, yeah, Jacek is a dev. He's like an OG Farcaster builder. He's a dev. He's trying things like, and I was like, oh, I want to support Farcaster devs. I'll get into Degen. Cool.
So this was, by the way, no. This was Adrian asking, why should I claim my airdrop? And my first thing, well, first of all, it's worth a few $1,000s. She's like, not interested. Give me more. Like, that was
just like, free money is not enough.
Try
but I was
again.
like, oh, okay, well, there's a dev who's behind it. Cool. Because listen, whatever. Anyway. But I just want to say now it's been kind of 2 years, and I think you had the blessing and the curse of like launching so high, so fast, right? Like, so it's like you start with a win. It's like, oh, where do you go from there? It's like how do you keep repeating it? And I think Yes to Crypto brought up kind of all the things you've innovated on over the years and keep trying. And I just think you could have easily been like, hey guys, Degen didn't work. We're trying something new, and launch a new token and kind of build on that. But you didn't. And just hearing you talk, and this is why I like these conversations. Like, I want to, because even when you talk about the brand, ultimately, like I think a lot of this comes from the top in terms of like values and branding. And you really just have, just to be able to kind of be willing to keep trying things, but sticking with Degen, I think is, I don't know. I find it impressive, or just at least I have a lot of respect for you as a builder. And I think kind of like that builder ethos comes through. So
well, thank you.
I personally think it's cool. I can't speak for anyone else, but this is, like, let people hear your words and they can decide. But I think it's really cool.
No, thank you. And it's definitely been brutal, like a 98% drawdown or whatever. Like, even Lucas had a 95% drawdown once, and he's like, man, this is brutal. Like, even with Toshi, I talked to some of the other meme coins, it definitely hits you. But at the same time, like, the community is great. I think we have like a really solid thing, and I think we just have to get through this cycle, which is kind of sucky right now. And I always work with that mentality. I always work with the mentality that 2024 was great. And I knew that this wasn't gonna, like, even Nick from One Confirmation, Nick Tomato, was like, your community's gonna probably like turn on you at one point, and like all this kind of stuff. And it's kind of like gearing me up for like, it's not always gonna be this rosy. And so like I kind of work with that mindset from day one. I'm always like a little bit more, not like pessimistic, but maybe like realistic, and like, but maybe that's not good either sometimes. But either way, like I was kind of working with, okay, like if we go into like a prolonged bear market or something, then at least for Degen to survive that. And if we can survive it and go to like the next sort of bull market and maintain a brand and release things, then I think the user base will sort of compound, and people will sort of respect it. And we'll see if that happens. I hope that, I don't know, we'll see like a huge like bull market this year, but maybe like in another year or two or something, maybe we kind of bounce back. But I
think of it like Doge as well, in terms of community, in terms of brand. Doge, the coin, to be clear. But I think, that's had its ups and downs over the years. And then, during 2020, it just popped off, for reasons unrelated to the brand. It was related to Robinhood. So you never know what that thing is going to be that all of a sudden, brings something back to life. If it still has a strong founder, if it has a strong community that's sort of under the core. So I don't think, I think there's some coins, they're going to be ephemeral. They're going to come and go, and that's fine. Like sometimes they're not meant to, be around forever. They might have a purpose for a short period of time, but the other ones that have like something substantive underneath them, yeah, you just have to survive. Like survival is the key.
I also
For
think that,
sure.
like, incentives aren't that well aligned, and so essentially, well, incentives are aligned in like such a way that it's super easy to just extract and leave. And so the same way I probably could have just left in 2024 and been like, I'm done, and been pretty well off. I think it's like easy to basically do that. So essentially, I think you see that, like, for instance, I think about like Blur and Blast, like those were like being for a while. And like what happened to Pac-Man? Like I spoke with him once and then like try to contact him again, and like what happened
Gone.
there? Such a great, it's still a good product, like Blur.
Okay, I would never say that was a good product. I think that destroyed NFTs, literally destroyed, partially responsible for destroying nouns. Like I can get into that. Like that's a whole other discussion. So I have a lot of problems with the way they approached things. And that's exactly what they did. Came in, extracted like crazy, and then pieced out. It was like, see ya, I got mine. So yeah, don't be that. Don't be a Pac-Man.
No, definitely. I think for Blur, the part that I like was like the pro trading feature, and then I think OpenSea has OpenSea Pro now. So I think that's cool. But yeah, maybe the whole like leaderboards and like I don't know exactly. I wasn't deep into it.
The farming of their points was the problem. The way in which the incentives that they set up created so many issues. So that was what I take issue with, but that's a whole other episode.
Agree.
Adrian, what else do you got for Jacek before we let him get back to maybe catching some sleep or something before the baby wakes up again?
Let's just hit some of the questions from the chat.
I wanted to get this one. Oh, go ahead. I want to get this one too. Oh, it's probably the same one. Go ahead.
Is it Zal's?
Yes.
Okay. If you guys couldn't tell, Prof and I just kept hitting the same button, and one of us would put it on and the other would take it off multiple times. Jacek, how do people connect with you if they want to dive deeper in support of the Degen ecosystem?
The best way to connect is, honestly, I should probably say Farcaster, but actually it's the Telegram Degen Army channel, just because it's like a group chat and we're all in there and I respond to it all the time. And Farcaster doesn't have like a group chat experience that makes it easy for people to kind of just join. I don't think they have like public group chats. So essentially that's why it's a little bit easier on Telegram. So I would say join the Degen Army Telegram, and I always respond. So there's like a few people that are active there.
Okay. We'll grab a link to that and add it to our show notes for folks so that they have those. And are you getting more support from like Jesse and other folks like that? Like, are you starting to see, are you feeling supported there? Anything coming down the pike with what you have planned for the rest of the year?
Yeah, so initially we were all sort of like in this group chat. There's like a bunch of meme coins. Everybody except for Brett is basically in this group chat. And we all sort of decided we were all sort of angry at the Zora meta. And so we sort of posted these things at the beginning of January, like, hey, you guys are like pushing Zora really hard, saying that meme coins are really important to onboarding people. But then we haven't really seen a lot of support, like direct support, other than like, yes, we support meme coins, but not like, okay, we're going to help this project or whatever. And then obviously like the whole the thread guy thing. So essentially the whole thread guy thing like cascaded, and then Brian Armstrong talked to him, whatever. And I think they actually did take that like that advice or that sort of feedback from the community to heart. So I messaged Jesse like the other day, and so I've been shopping around sort of where should we launch this new thing in March that I've been talking about, end of March. And so we sort of talked to Solana, or obviously we can't really talk to anybody at ETH, but we kind of took that under as a potential chain to launch on. And then we're sort of thinking about Base, because Base is sort of our home. And so Jesse's response was really great. He actually sort of almost like he verbally sort of agreed to a few points, like promo points and things like that. So I think in March, end of March, for this thing we're releasing, for the whole brand experience, I think we'll see direct support from Jesse. And then also we're working on Base, and there's a couple other things that are going to happen. So I think the tide is changing a little bit. So it's cool. It's cool to see. I kind of understand them. Like they're more of like the Coinbase sort of like mafia or whatever, where they have this like mentality of like Silicon Valley and like really looking. So that's why they value Banker and Clanker and like all these sort of like projects that they feel can be like huge companies. And they come from like a company, Silicon Valley startup kind of perspective. And so they say they like memes, but it always seems to be like, it's not where their heart's at. Like they don't really see like, oh, this isn't like a company. This isn't like a thing. And so it's like, how can we also show them that no, Pudgy Penguins, like for instance, is a company, and they're running things, but it's not like a startup. It's not the typical thing you see. So I think it's like from one side, from the meme side, showing them no, like what is the actual value prop, and that we can build a business, and it's not just like air, and that they're promoting a token that will go to zero. And then at the other side, it's sort of them also coming back and I don't know, thinking about things a little bit differently than just like the typical startup world, typical Coinbase mentality or whatever. So, but it's cool. Like Jesse was open to it, so I think we're going to launch this thing on Base. Well, we are going to launch on Base. So yeah.
Great. Awesome. That's good. Good to hear that there's been a little shift there. That's good. Adrian?
We think we'll see you in Rome.
Yeah, I'm going to try and make it out for sure. Yeah, I've been talking to, who is it, Limon? No, not Limon. I've been talking to, I have a group chat with them. They're kind of waiting for me to respond because I want to be a part of it. So I think one of the things I've always been a little bit like peeved about is that like the last two Farcons, we were never like really a part of it, even though I wanted to be. Like I wanted to sponsor it, I want to do other things, I want to have a booth, and it was always kind of like, no. Well, the last one was like, no, Coinbase is like the only sponsor, and so forth and so on. So I always kind of felt like we were sort of cast aside. But this Farcon, I think, will have like a place there.
Good.
So
let's chat with you about that after this, because actually, I'm looking at the time. I'm like, oh shit, we have got to chat with the Farcon.
We have a Farcon planning meeting in a few minutes.
Yeah, in a few minutes. But we'd like to we might have. I have some ideas for you on that, where we can give you some like really good placement. So
perfect.
I'll circle back.
This is so interesting. And by the way, Prof, we were at the first Farcon, and it was such a community. It was just like let's hang out. It was like, we're going to hang out on a weekend for people who like Farcaster. Yeah. And it was so good. And then obviously Venice and New York were just so much bigger. And
I feel like Farcon Rome feels a little more community. Community like vibe. So I think we're getting a little bit back to the basics, which is nice. So yeah, good. Jacek, we're going to let you go. We've got a couple quick things that we have to do to wrap up here, and then we got to go jump into a Farcon meeting. So I know, like looking at the time. I did
say we're like 10 o'clock is fine. We'll be finished by then. Totally. We never.
Totally. Like
horrible time management.
I know we really did, but I don't want to cut off this conversation. It's been great. Like,
it's so good. It's so good to see you, Jacek.
It's been great to see you. Good luck with the baby. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see you guys in Italy.
Oh, the hat fell off. How dare it? I know. There we go. But also, we need to get you some of these for the baby.
Yes.
So the baby's going to need some penguins.
Accessories she has, the better.
Yeah. I will. I think I might be able to ground up a few that are still in packaging. For God's sakes, I have
Really?
way too many around here.
That you gave me at Farcon in Venice. Everywhere I go, that's the. I should have worn it today. But like
So should she had. She has one too, and she didn't wear it. I'm the only one. I'm the only one with a hat. Disappointing.
Today. Yeah.
You get a pass, Jacek. You get a pass.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right.
All right.
Cool. I'm gonna hop off. Thanks for having me. See you guys next time.
Thanks, Jacek. Bye-bye. All right. Really quick. Really quick. Just because I want to point out a couple quick things. The baby does not need a Labubu, but you know what it does? If it does have a Labubu, I have a Pudgy Penguin cover for said Labubu that I've done nothing with because I don't have any Labubus. Good. You're always wearing your top hat. All right. Really quick. Let me just grab a couple quick things because we are not going to be on again until Tuesday. We are off on Friday. We'll be on Tuesday with the one and only, yes, finally, Emily Jr. is going to be joining us to chat about DRB. Very excited. Couple quick things that were in our builders building area. Fred Wilson had posted, our portfolio company, XMTP, is taking an approach to office space I really like. Instead of being fully remote, or entirely one office, they're opening a network of workspaces for themselves and their ecosystem of builders. So if you are building on XMTP, please go check this out because they have an opportunity for you to join as a member and be able to use their spaces. So very cool. Oh, I did pull that. Oh, so, and I just wanted to mention this. So be careful out there. This was my banker wallet got drained and I still don't know how, despite a long investigation. Okay, his long investigation was not long enough. Somebody else investigated and realized that it was his setup because he shared his API and it was all over the place and it was not good. OPSEC. So what I would suggest is if you're running a Cloud bot, you're going to be connecting it to banker, anything else, go take a look at this so that you understand this mistake and this error. And also, if you're doing these sorts of things, maybe don't blame somebody else before you fully understand what you did. Just a thought there. But also, I think this was really interesting to understand exactly what happened, because when we're dealing with all these new integrations and all of this, it's important to understand that. Also, I saw something else, but I didn't fully vet it, regarding the APIs getting exposed and people's information getting exposed. So just be super careful out there if you're building with bots. Lastly, I'm going to leave you with this. This was from our friend Push, who does our clipping, app coin, art coin, builder coin, creator coin, product coin, meme coin. Now, if you remove the word coin, you'll easily see what's the only valuable thing about them. Kind of love that. Adrian, anything else before we sign off? And can you shoot a message to Lamoni and let them know?
I'm doing that right now.
I'll be right there. I didn't even realize the time was flying. I just all of a sudden was like, oh, crap. What time is it? As soon as he mentioned Farcon, I'm like, oh, we have to go somewhere. When giveaway? What giveaway? There are no giveaways. We love you. There's no giveaway. We love you.
We've done it once or twice. We did a Dev.
I don't think
we had Dev Connect tickets to give away. I think that was the only giveaway we've ever done. And we tend to give things to our BFFs when we see you in person.
Yeah, that too. We do that
at Farcon,
at conferences and things like that. One other thing, I did see some chatter in the chat about you banning people, and I'm like, I don't think she's ever banned anyone. And if she ever did ban somebody in a channel, like it was probably our fault.
No, I actually think so. Duxander, who I think is also DuckFax, who is who I actually was unlocking a memory. There was a time when I forget, and I can't even remember it because I want to put it in the back. But do you remember when it was like there was an explosion on Farcaster, and it might have been post Degen, and everyone jumping into Farcaster channel and doing engagement farming and posting pictures.
Yes, because they were earning Degen. That's what it was. They got a boost.
Oh, it was a Degen.
That's what it was. You got a boost if you were posting in there.
That's
and then
what it
people
was.
were posting things that were completely irrelevant.
Yeah, we had like, that was when channels were kind of becoming, and I was one of the moderators, and Ivy, and we're trying to like,
You got a reward
yes, it was
boost.
nice. Yes.
Yes.
That whoever,
So
it may have been Jacek trying to promote
Jacek's reason for
Farcaster.
doing it was because he wanted to support some of the communities that were, important in the channels that were important on Farcaster and drive attention to them. It went bad. That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't be,
Hilarious for anyone to be
kind of
scared.
power.
Hilarious that anyone's ever scared of this space. I mean, come on. I did wield the ban from the channel.
I just wanted to like clarify that because I was seeing that come through, and I'm like, I didn't want to stop our chat with Jacek to kind of address it, but I didn't want to like just leave it. So funny. So funny. Anyway, I forgot. That's what it was. So, show me the incentive. I'll show you.
Exactly.
I'll show you the outcome. All right, everyone. This has been a blast. Thanks so much, everyone. Love you. We'll see you next Tuesday. We'll be on Tuesday with Emily talking DRB and banker. And then we'll be on Thursday next week. So Tuesday and Thursday next week, just 2 shows next week. And we'll see you then. Anything else, Adrienne, before we end this?
Happy Black History Month, everyone.
Happy Black History Month, everybody.
Oh, Najee.
And with that.
Yes, we'll get you on someday.
Yes. And with that, everyone, bye-bye. Thanks for joining us for this episode of GM Farcaster. And thank you to all our partners and HyperSub supporters bringing this episode to you. Follow the GM Farcaster channel for all the latest updates and add our mini app on Farcaster and the base app. Until next time, bye-bye.